All right, sports stat students, this video is to just go over the particulars about how to use CODAP and also Stapplet to do the group project, the categorical analysis video. You have these two on here on Stapplet that we'll use. We also have CODAP that we use as well to help us out a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and download somebody's survey results. That's sort of what you want to do. So we'll just use these results here. Okay, so I'm going to open this up. So this would be, oh no, that's not it. Sorry, that's just somebody's survey. I think actually we'll do Zach's. Here we go. So I can download this. And that's what you're going to want to do is you want to download your survey. And then you want to convert it into a CSV file. So we'll see, okay, here's the download that I just got. I'm going to open this up and it's going to show this. You click Enable Editing and you can clean this up if you want. Like for instance, I don't really need this, so I can highlight all that, right click and delete. So now I've got names and all these different variables here that we'll be using. So all I need to do is just save this. And instead of the save as a Excel workbook, we want to do this comma delimited right here, the CSV. There's a couple in here that you can choose. Actually, I'm going to pick this one here, but either of these technically works. So I'm going to save it under the downloads file. So it's still in here, but one of these is a CSV, and I think it's this one here. That's an Excel workbook. There's the comma separated value. So I highlight over that and you see comma separated values. That's what we want for CODAP. So let's pull up CODAP. We'll launch it. We'll start a new document. And then I'm going to just pull that onto, oh, I did the wrong one. It's this one. Pull that comma separated value sheet on here. And now it's got all the data. So this is a good starting point. We're using Stapplet to do a lot of this work. But CODAP is really good at organizing all the data, okay? So that's why we want to use it to help us out. Now, you can use your spreadsheet here to help you do a lot of things. For instance, if I were in this group and I wanted to do you consider yourself a sports fan, I could organize this alphabetic and I could do the count. So this would be single variable. So on the first part of the project, let me pull that up. So we've got the project here. Let me zoom in to this part. So this is the single categorical variable representation. So if I were to do this, I'll show this on Stapplet. I'm not really using CODAP for this, but I'll use Stapplet instead. So I do single group variable, and you'll type in the variable name, which I'm just going to copy this. Do you consider yourself a sports fan? Put that into Stapplet. Okay, and the categories, like what they can respond with is yes or no. And then what you can do, let me move this over. What you can do is just highlight down at the bottom right. You'll see that it counts for you at the bottom right. So we had 8 that said no in this sample, and we had yes. We had how many yeses? 20 yeses. Once you do that, you click Begin Analysis, and I wanted 2 specific things on this. Each variable must be shown as a bar chart and a pie chart, so I want that. And then you have to use percents or relative frequencies, okay? These 2 have to be a part of it, so this one is kind of the one that they needed. Relative frequency, so is what you want to change it to. So you would snip this using the snipping tool. So new, and you can just take a snip of it. You only need this part here. This would go into your PowerPoint that your group is doing. So each group should have a PowerPoint going that's you can collaborate on and all work on it simultaneously. So you can do that. Next, you just change this to a pie chart and you have this. You want to have all of this information there. And then I do want the percent shown. So down here you have the summary statistics. You'll get a screenshot of that as well. Okay. So you'll want, where my mouse is here, you want this to be showing. Okay. I want that. So there's kind of 3 things that you want to have inside of the PowerPoint. Okay. Now that's the single variable. which is going to be easier, quicker than the two variable. Okay. So let's go ahead and talk about the two variables. Each group member, if you're in a group of four, you have to do four of these, but each group member has to do this analysis. Okay. So each person, you're not going to have two people do all of this. Everybody, this is important lesson for everyone to do, is the two variables. So you're going to pick two variables. So let's imagine that I'm Zach and I'm going to look at CODAP here. Well, I want to compare two variables. Let's say, do you consider yourself a sports fan? And then what's your favorite? Well, let's see, which one do we want? They had some crazy ones here. Favorite sports beverage. Okay, so we can do that. Actually, no, let's do favorite beverage and do you exercise? How about that? So you can pick any ones you want. So I'm going to do you exercise or not as this bottom one here. So do you exercise? Okay, so there we have, this would be single variable, right? And then on this one, I'm going to put um, favorite like beverage. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the counts for each one of these, and then I'm going to put that into Stapplet. I'll put that over here. We've got this, so we got all these counts. I'm going to go back and we're going to click two categorical variables. So we click that and we have our explanatory variable, which is going to be, do you work out? So we'll type that in. If I can spell right, exercise. And then response would be favorite beverage. Okay. So the columns, you're going to say yes or no for working out, which I guess my CODAP is backwards. I'll put no and yes, just to make it easier for me. And then we have to type in all these rows. We'll do water, and I need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them. Okay, so 6 of them. Soda, other, juice, Gatorade. I spelled Gatorade wrong. And then Capri Sun. Okay, and then I'm just going to type in all these counts. It's pretty straightforward at this point. A lot of people putting water. Gatorade had quite a few, especially on the exercise side. So then we begin analysis. And what we're looking for here, and in the email that I sent this video with, I've got sort of the notes that go with it. We're looking for major differences in between these. So you can see these are based on percents. And what we're looking for are big differences in these percents. So you can see here that 28.6% said that did not work out preferred soda. Whereas here, those that did not prefer soda as much. So this is kind of what we're looking for. We're looking for major differences in these percents, in these bars, because this is your segmented bar graph. And so in the back, let's look at this. You have to have a two-way table and a segmented bar graph. And then you need to provide an analysis, interpretation of these graphs, okay? Really just the segmented bar graph is what you're interpreting. So you're going to classify the variables as either independent or dependent. And I put it in the notes, but independent is the sort of what we're looking for. Knowing one variable does not change the probability of the other. So in this context, looking at Stapplet, if I know that you work out, does that change the probability that you're going to drink a soda? Well, here, yeah, it looks like it does. And that's what you're trying to show, okay? You're trying to compare those differences. We're seeing a difference. Now, it's not as different for Gatorade, okay? Water, pretty close, but different, right? In the lesson, I said if they're within 5%, we would call those independent, okay? But anything this large would be dependent because of the differences. So what that means is knowing one does seem to have an effect on the other, okay? So that is the analysis. One thing that I'm adding to this project is I want your interpretation. Did you find your results surprising or not surprising? Things like that. Sort of reading beyond the data, thinking outside of what the results show. Okay. So hopefully this is a helpful 10-minute video to make sure everybody understands what they need to do to make these graphs and how to organize them. So I'm going to stop my video there.